Hello and howdy everyone. Here to talk about the film VHS. It's a, what do you call it? Compilation? No, that's kind of the word, but, boy, I can't remember the specific word. Anyway, it's a collection of short films wrapped into one big film with a overreaching story arc, kind of like the Twilight Zone movie or Tales from the Dark Side, something like that. It hasn't been too many movies like this. Like Tales from the Hood, that's like one of the last ones I can remember. There aren't many, so it's kind of a refreshing format. It was refreshing in a way, but overall I thought it was kind of disappointing. I think I'll go ahead and give it a 5. I think a 5 is fair. I would definitely recommend this for fans of the horror genre. I rented it for 2 reasons, basically. First, I had a good friend tell me that it was really good, so maybe my hopes were a little bit up. So I respect his taste. He's not too, off most of the time. Secondly, one of the, I believe there's 5 directors. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 directors, 6 writer-directors. And one of them is Ty West. And I knew I was going to eventually see this because I would consider myself a Ty West completist. I think his House of the Devil, which was his debut film, is one of the best horror films of the last 10 years. I got to see that in the theater, and because he gave me that experience, I feel that I owe him, a loyal career fellowship. I think he's a very talented filmmaker, and needless to say, I think that his vignette in this film is by far the best, at least most effective, most interesting. I guess the hook here with VHS is that the 6 separate films are all found footage video, much like Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity, Cloverfield. Basically, yeah, combining 6 of those into one, hour and 50-minute movie. Again, we're dealing with like 6 separate short films here. They are all effective to their varying degrees. Most are, some have interesting things to say, interesting concepts. Others are just kind of straightforward and like, okay. I'd say my big one, they're all, pretty well acted. They're all well acted, at least for the genre. They're all well shot. It for better or worse, makes me believe that, it's a handheld camcorder or, some other small recording device. My primary issue with the film is, and this is more of a fault of my own, I have a big problem with people acting illogically and outside of the normal human behavior. And that often happens in horror films, and I can disregard it for the most part. But this film is just chock full of it. It's filled with illogical behavior and just situations that a human would never react in the way that they do in this film. And it's just constant. It's just constant, and it's irritating. I was more angry and frustrated than I was scared or creeped out or, entranced. You know, there was always that anger that came back to me, and it just seemed like every few minutes I was angry about something instead of being scared about something. And again, that's kind of what I take into it. That's my issue. I wish I could, you know, fully believe that these humans would act this way in these situations, but, you know, I just can't see it. You know, I just can't see it. So that's pretty much, you know, I don't mind when physics are destroyed by films, but when human nature is negated, I just kind of check out, really. It does do a really good job at establishing mood each time. You know, I get a sense of dread, you know, sometimes building up, but usually it's, you know, if you go back and think about all those found footage movies, you usually, you know, across the board see the same kind of review. Well, I thought it was really good until the ending, and then the ending sucked. Well, here you have 6 of those, you know, where the build-up is really good and the payoff is okay, but the ending is just kind of, well, all right. So you've got 6 of those. Again, all, you know, effective and successful to varying degrees. I'll go ahead and say the list of filmmakers here. Each directed and wrote their own segment. Adam Wingard, David Bruckner, Ty West, Glenn McQuaid, Joe Swanberg, and Radio Silence. Interesting name, Radio Silence. So I can't tell you, you know, who did what film. I think they're in some kind of order there, but you know, they all do a good job of establishing a story, having something interesting to say. Whether it wraps up that way, you know, that remains to be seen. But it, you know, it's all young filmmakers, young writer-directors, so I admire that. You know, they're getting their work out there and doing it their way, so I appreciate that. But it, you know, I just, again, was more aggravated. I was kind of relieved when the film was over, so I could calm down. I don't know what else to say. Oh, you know, there's kind of no one to identify with. I mean, maybe that's kind of the point, is I felt like I was watching something that, you know, I was in no way involved. I never felt really emotionally involved, never felt intellectually involved, just kind of observing these people, and half the time it would be like people I would never be around. You know, they're not really good people. This movie is kind of filled with scumbags, so, you know, it's like, whatever. You know, I only like cared one time when something bad happened to somebody. It was just like, oh, I feel bad for him. Other than that, it was just like, well, they're getting what they deserve. They're getting their comeuppance. So it was just like, okay, you know, okay. It was just so, I mean, I'm glad I watched it because I knew I was going to see it anyway, and I do think that Ty West is a great filmmaker, and I do think that he had the best film in this film. So it's worth seeing it for that, I think. Very gory, you know, very violent, lots of nudity. I kind of felt, you know, bad. And again, this film is filled with scumbags, you know, with people who, you know, you kind of wouldn't want to hang out with, and they do scumbag things, and it kind of makes me feel guilty, you know, for watching. You know, because I kind of consider myself a voyeur anyway. I like to watch, you know, more than I do participate, honestly. But it's in one of those things where if I were seeing this in real life, or I would have to act, I'm a human. I can't watch someone suffer this way. I would have to do something. And here, you can't do anything because you're just watching a movie. And it just kind of overwhelms me with guilt a little bit, where I feel, I felt dirty. I felt dirty after watching this film. So it's effective, at least. I kind of mean that as a compliment. It's good at its job. I just wish it was. I don't know. I just wish there were some stories that made me care, that involved me, and instead of just kind of made me sit back in my chair and go look at this. And a lot of the scares are sound, induced. It just loud noises, quick movements. That's pretty much, what they rely on here. But everyone does a really good job of setting up their story, and establishing, a sense of uneasiness, at least. I never felt, again, at ease or comfortable while watching this film. So I think that says something. But overall, it was just okay, I've seen it now. Now I can join the conversation. A lot of people have been talking about this movie. There's actually already been a sequel in the theater that's going to come out on disc soon. Unless Ty West does another short film in that, I doubt I'll see it. But and I do like the found footage format. But here's just okay, all right, we get it. So yeah, there you go. I think that's pretty much all I can say about it. But I definitely recommend it to horror genre fans, fans of the found footage format. It's entertaining. You won't be incredibly disappointed, and it is somewhat effective. It's somewhat effective. So there you go. I think I'm done talking about it. That's VHS. From 6 different writer-directors, and I give it a solid 5, just right down the middle. Thanks much.